everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of La Mirada Focus, where we spotlight the people who live, work, and care in our La Mirada community. I'm your host, Armin George, and we have an exciting show lined up for you. Welcome back to La Mirada Focus. When you think of a community member who represents dedication and upstanding family values, my next guest is at the very top of that list. He has devoted 31 years to coaching at Biola University, 15 years as head coach of the men's soccer team, as well as raising 5 children in La Mirada. I'd like to welcome Coach Matt Orr to the show.
Thank you very much, Armin.
Thank you for joining us.
Privileged to be here.
That must be, kind of hard. You're going to be not used to hearing the coach part in front of your name anymore. It's been there for so long. What is that going to be like? What kind of spurred your decision to now leave the coaching career at Biola?
I've had 31 good years of really fulfilling experiences with young men and just good accomplishments in athletics. And it's come to a time in my career where it's time for a young man to take over and get out on the front line. So I'm just changing gears. I'll still be involved. I'll still be doing a lot of the same things I've done in the past as far as impacting young lives and helping them find meaning and purpose in life. And I'll be taking a full-time teaching load and just won't be on the road as much, not as nervous as kids getting hurt all the time and worrying about recruiting all the time. So just changing gears, thanks.
You were really instrumental in developing the program at Biola, after being there so many years. Really, why don't you take us through that development process? What was it like when you first came on, and what were some of your goals? Did you accomplish them?
Armin, when I came to Biola and switched from wrestling to soccer, it was a pretty big switch for me. My personality was geared for wrestling. I was a pretty intense person, and I really enjoyed the one-on-one contest. So it was a real good challenge to take a group of young men and unite them into, I'll say, a chemistry, a team that works together and pulls together. And so my goals were a little bit the same goals that I had in wrestling, but definitely as a student here, I think there's 3 areas that I've really tried to achieve in my coaching career. And number one, we're in the business of education. So academically, we are trying to really encourage the kids to do a good job and prepare them for a life occupation. I think the second area that we have impact on young kids, and I tried to make it a part of our program, and you might use the word chemistry, but fellowship and unity, social development, and development as a holistic person. And then I would say, the last area that we have is the competitive area, and that's why I coach, because I like the challenge of seeing what my potential is and how it compares to other people. And so I think that was the biggest challenge that I had, is to develop a program holistically and make all those areas important areas. And I think that's hard to do in our society now. You either get one end or the other end, the emphasis on the competitive part, or maybe emphasis on the academic part, but to have a team that's well balanced in all those areas has probably been what I would say the soccer tradition of our program.
Now, you also graduated from Biola. It was Biola College at the time. Was that always in your plan to go back to the school and be a part of it in that way?
I don't think I had some grand view, a plan of doing that. I think it just happened. I married a Biola girl, and she was a little bit ahead of me academically and got a full-time job in La Mirada Norwalk school system. So when I moved out of the, graduated and moved out of the educational system, I moved right into the equipment room and worked there for a year or 2. And then the opportunity came for a job in wrestling at Biola, or at Pasadena Nazarene offered me an opportunity in wrestling there. But I just jumped on the opportunity to stay at my school that had impacted my life personally, and I really believed in the impact that they were having on young kids. And I had the privilege of staying in La Mirada, and not only is Biola a great place to work, but La Mirada is an awesome place to raise your children.
And that's right, you had 5 children. One is going to be graduating, your last one, from La Mirada High School, and they all went to Biola too.
we were fortunate. My children have chosen Biola as a first choice. They've all really enjoyed it, and they're looking forward to it. And Sam just made the choice of coming to Biola. He had a lot of competition out there. A lot of schools were looking at him for his baseball skills, but his brothers and sisters have had such a great experience, and as he's grown up on the campus and experienced all the things that happens at Biola, just the social atmosphere and just the impact that athletes have had on his life as he was growing up as a young child, he's pretty excited about being able to go to Biola.
In fact, all your children are very talented individually and have, performed in ways that are really exceed what, I'm sure you expected from them, and just being a part of the community. I mean, we see them involved in the community. Is that something that you really made sure that you taught them and that they saw from your own example?
Well, Armin, it's been a two-way street, I mean, the kids have really contributed, I think, to our community, but more than anything, they benefited from the type of community we have. It's like they have a lot of mom and dads out there that were their coaches in Little League and in music and with my daughters, but their mother is really talented. She's a school teacher. She has music background in church, and so she got all the kids started early with music. And even though the boys are really strong and strongly involved in athletics, they really can do a lot of musical things, especially with the guitar. My middle son Joe, he does a lot of just concerts and leadership in that area. But it was really fun to see Elizabeth take a job in a community at Wilson High School and teaching English and band. And for the first time, because I'm not having to recruit, I got to see a band review during Christmas time. And I never was able to see her when she was in bands herself, but it was really fun to watch her participate as a leader in the band at Wilson High School.
How important is that to maintain that close community feeling, and being involved in the community, especially one like La Mirada?
Well, for us, it's just additional teaching outside the home. I mean, you have people in your community that have the same values that you have, and just at Biola, we were able to bring the kids up and get swimming lessons and to have that benefit as a faculty member, and the cost with 5 kids, we were able to do that. I think in our community, the city government has provided a lot of opportunities for children, so you're not limited when you have a large family, and it's just been super to have that kind of support outside the home.
Now, Coach Orr, with such a long career with Biola, what were some of the challenges you faced when you were, working with the programs there?
Well, probably one of the hardest situations that we have to work is that we're in a small school with not a big budget, and so there's really a lot of challenge in providing extra experiences for the athletes on my team. I always promise them I'll make one road trip, and then I like to do a lot of other things besides compete in the off season. We do a little bit of travel and ministry and are involved there. So there's a lot of challenge on fundraising. I think recruiting has become a really big challenge because of the cost of a private education. So we really sell the things that we have unique that we think are just distinctive to what they can get while they're at Biola.
What about some of the highlights? I'm sure there were many, while you were there at Biola. What do you think really stands out in your mind?
And as we were thinking about moving to the front lines and changing gear, we reflected back over the many years, and I would say the 2 Japan trips were really neat experiences. The one in 1980, I was able to take an all-star team to Japan, a wrestling all-star team, and that was really enjoyable. And then finishing up my last year to take my own team, all of Biola kids, to Okinawa and do soccer camps and just really have good fellowship and a tremendous cultural exchange experience for all the guys on my team.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Coach Orr, for stopping by and speaking with us. And it's really great that there are role models like you out there in the community that we can look up to.
All right.
Well, stay tuned. We have more La Mirada Focus coming up. Next, we'll be chatting with La Mirada's very own Laker girls after these messages.